it at the 45. Adams skipping. Adams gets outside. Watch out. Hits the sideline. The Jet. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Welcome Joe Adams to the show. Joe, DJ and I have been waiting to get you on. So glad that you can make it. How you doing now?
I'm doing good, man. I know we've been kind of missing each other. We were supposed to do this a while ago.
I know we've been kind of hitting each other back and forth. I've been staying on them saying, hey, guys, the 4th and 5 fans, the Razorback fans, they want to hear from Joe Adams. You're a household name around here. Everybody wants to know what you're thinking right now with the new addition of Bobby Petrino back at Arkansas. I tell everybody, this is like a story that you just couldn't write. It's a script that could never be written, that he came back here to Arkansas. But what does that mean as a guy who played underneath him? What can the players in the locker room expect going from the coaches that they've had previously to Bobby Petrino?
A hard-nosed coach. Coach is going to come in and try to change the culture now rather than him just being on campus. He's going to try to make sure he get his quarterbacks and his receivers together, make sure they always on the same page, make sure it's a unit and everybody hitting on the same thing. And everybody is ready to play, really.
Dude, when I think back about our time at Arkansas back in those days, the glory days when we were winning, and that's what a lot of people think about now. We talked about this earlier. That's the last time that we were a great team, and so it's kind of just lingering. And fans always reflect on those days. We didn't really think that Bobby, honestly, there's a lot of rumors and unknown truths and that kind of thing about whether or not he was even going to be allowed to come back, whether he could or he couldn't, or if that was something that the university would be interested in. Offensively, when you think back about how he used all the different weapons on the field, what made that an attractive offense for you?
Honestly, them telling me that I could start as a true freshman coming in, throw the ball 80% of the time. He spread it around. We also had Mallett coming in at the time, and we had a good quarterback right behind him with Tyler Wilson. So it was just a lot of good players that really kind of attracted me to stay back home too.
A lot of people don't think about the times that when we were really good at football under Petrino, we had a lot of in-state recruits at the time. I have a hard time just remembering everybody that came from Arkansas that was a homegrown, guy. Can you name off a couple of those guys? You remember those different guys that came in that 2008 class?
Man, my class was me, DeAnthony, DeAnthony Curtis, Dennis Johnson, Jairus Wright, Greg Childs, Chris Gregg. My whole class was about 18 of us. Jericho Nelson, which was from, let's say in-state. In-state, Askew, Zach Stafford. It's just so many.
A lot, and a lot of those guys who played, their first year in college.
Yeah.
And a lot of them that went on to the NFL, either, were there for however long. But a lot of the guys, came from the university or came from being born here in the state of Arkansas, going on to the University of Arkansas, but then going to the NFL. And I think a lot of guys don't realize that Bobby had to make a lot of decisions on the field about who he was going to get the ball to. Man, I remember when we were in high school, you were, I think, officially committed to USC.
Yeah,
and you were weighing your options. Do you remember sitting in English class and I would try to always be, hey man, come on, what's up with the Razorbacks?
Yeah.
What ultimately made you decide that's what you wanted to do? Was it just the offense, the family?
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. At that time, it was hard to try to pass up on USC coming off of Pete Carroll and Reggie Bush and all that. You want to put your name in a part of that, but I also wanted to stay in the SEC, and USC is not an SEC school. They were my favorite color, red. That was a key thing too. Right. If Arkansas was blue and green, I don't know if I'd have been there. I'm just playing. But just being at home and putting Arkansas on the map, because there was a lot of great players that came before us. And one of my closest friends, I ain't gonna say he was like one of my closest friends, but he a big homie to me, Darren McFadden. So he was one of the guys that was recruiting me a lot to get me to stay at home and put on for the state. And I was just, want to cement my name on one of those blocks like he did. And a funny story, not to cut you off, but once I got on campus, they give you a jersey. So I wanted one, but Reggie Fish was already wearing one, so I didn't want to, bigger or try to take his jersey or anything. So they tried to give me 5. So I'm like, 5. So I called Darren that night. I'm like, Darren, like, bro, they trying to give me 5. He like, bro, Reg, you gonna do your thing? I'm like, nah, them some big shoes to fill, bro. I think I need to make my own. I need to get my own jersey. But now looking back at it, I probably should have wore 5. But hey, it is what it is. I made 3 a household number. So after Kenny, it was already household. Kenny had it first, so.
Well, I was about to say the same thing. I was like, you made in my mind when I think of 3, I think of Joe Adams. I always tell people this who ask about, what was it like playing under Petrino, and I always go, first of all, I didn't play. I practiced under Petrino. Second of all, I said it was real interesting. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I love to go hard on the field, but listen, I would always say,
them bodies, man. Listen, it don't matter if you a starter or a walk on. You gonna get the same treatment from Coach Pete. That's one thing them kids need to know.
That is true. That is very true. I wish people, gave me the credit. Amongst my peers, everybody knows what that's like. In the outside world, I wish I had that same credit. So, what I always would tell guys is that playing in that Petrino era was interesting because, a lot of people didn't understand how much talent was truly on the field because the talent wasn't able to get showcased like it would have been if you went to Ole Miss and you get used like a Dexter McCluster. I always compared you and McCluster as a very similar athletes. At the University of Arkansas, we spread the ball around so much. I remember an Auburn game where you get a toss to the left, hurdle a defender, and then take it 92 yards for a touchdown. I can't remember you touching the ball after that game because we had so many guys on the field. And then you look at a Dexter McCluster across the pond at another SEC school, and he's touching it 25 times a game. Is there ever a thought when you think back about that that's like, man, if I would have went to a school that let me touch the ball that much, the records that you could have said, or the career that you could have had.
If Coach P would have let me touch the ball at the backfield just a little bit more. Now, y'all would have seen a whole nother side then. But like you say, you got to see a glimpse of it in certain spots. And I'm man, I wish he would have let me get the ball a little bit more. And I honestly wish he would have let me play a little DB. Because, I was a top DB coming out. So I went against Julio and A.J. Green and all those guys in the Under Armour camps. And, I held my own. So I feel like I could have did the same thing playing in the SEC just on the other side of the ball. So I probably would have been the Travis Hunter of that era.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, Travis Hunter is kind of like changing the way people think right now of being able to do that a lot. And I think that they were always hesitant. And Petrino, I think, was a little bit hesitant on utilizing players like that. He really liked to just spread the ball around and not rely on any one thing over and over. And then you had your coaches like Houston Nutt who would just feed the beast, And so it was a little bit different coaching philosophy.
Yeah.
So. Tell me what were your thoughts, first of all, about this season beforehand? What did you think about this previous season?
Man, it's hard because every season you have your high hopes for what you expect them to go out there and do, and in my thoughts and how I look at things, like after a couple losses, then it's kind of on the team to rally each other together. Coaches can only do so much, and from what I was seeing, it just didn't look like those guys was really holding each other accountable all the time. Not saying that they weren't. I just didn't see like on the field, like during the games. I think that was a big part of us winning. We held each other accountable, no matter if it was you blocking for somebody else, knowing you're not gonna get the ball, or you just running off, or just whatever you had to do. Where everybody wanted to be. Everybody wanted to make that video on Friday before, we watch a video Friday night, and everybody wanted to get a brick shirt. And that was one of the key things. Everybody was just trying to make a play.
So we're talking about holding the players accountable. Do you think that, and DJ touches on this a lot, he thinks, and I want to let him speak for himself, but he's already spoken, it's on tape. So he thinks that players being able to get paid now in college is changing a little bit of the dynamic and how they kind of feel about themselves and maybe what they think they should or shouldn't do and what they'll put up with. And just changing that whole attitude and entitlement. And he said, hey, listen, when I didn't have any money in my bank account when I was in college, that changed the way I grind every single day. And then when he got that big paycheck in the NFL, he said, I'll admit there's a little difference in the way that you go about your day when you know that you got some bread in the bank. So do you think that that's affecting college sports, like just the whole dynamic of what? Because, I mean, it's kind of – he made a point. It's kind of hard to be upset at the end of the day when you go home. You take a beating against Auburn or Mississippi State and you go home and you still got $200,000 in your bank account.
Yeah, but see, that's when it comes down to it. Are you there to win or are you there just to get the NIL? Because, like you said, you could get that money for those certain amount of years, but if you're not producing, once the league come calling,
Right.
they're not going to look at you as no high pick, or you might not even get drafted, or you might not even get a chance to play no more. So now you're going to have to live off that little bit of money that you probably got. You may have spent a good portion of it, or, you going to take care of your family, so you're going to hand that out. So I just feel like those kids really, like, it's I can't say that they shouldn't get the money because we should have been the ones getting the money from
Right.
yeah. So it's
Right.
kind of like it's a double-edged sword. Like you want to pay them, but you also still want them to be hungry enough to stay
Right.
like stay on the same page. We're here to win. We're here to try to make it to whatever championship it is, make it to a bowl. Put some
I
points
think
on the board, give the people a good show, score
Yeah,
points.
I think that's right. I think that comes down to leadership and just the way that they go in every day when they show up. Hey, look, y'all can make money, but we're here to play football, and that money's
Yeah,
going to fade away if we're not playing football. And that
right.
period.
It's gonna be
So
gone.
that's interesting, and then the portal stuff has changed too. What do you think about today's portal situation, just college football? I mean, again, DJ and I talked about it. I think it's a players first mentality. A lot of players can put themselves in better positions, but it's not always a smart decision to go into the
Yeah,
portal either.
yeah.
So, what are your thoughts?
Uh, I'm on y'all side about that. Like, okay, it's sometimes it's good to have the portal because I mean, if you've been sitting over here for 2 or 3 years, then yeah, maybe it's time for you to go somewhere else. But if you only been there for a couple of weeks and you third on the depth chart, now you mad. Oh, I'm finna transfer. Now you're gonna go transfer over here. Now you finna be fifth on the depth chart because every coach got a certain amount of players that they or whoever they recruiting, they got to play them first, or they
Right.
got to put them in position to at least try to succeed. So it's like, don't run from adversity. And there was plenty of times where I felt like I wanted to leave too. Everybody felt like that. But, I mean, of course
It
I
was
stayed.
hard. It was
Yeah,
hard not to feel like that when he started yelling at you sometimes. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
especially at that age, you feel there's times at that age where you can feel attacked and not understand that they're just trying to get the best out of you. That
Yeah, I
comes with
mean,
maturity.
you're right. Because now that I look back on it, I didn't coach a couple years now. I didn't coach high school all the way down to seventh grade. And it's the easiest way to just let the kids just do what they want to do. Sometimes it's not
Right.
good for them to do what they want to do. Just make them sit it out. Go through that
Right.
adversity, make them stronger. So then when it's time for them to play and adversity happen on the field, they're not gonna run from that. So even if it don't work and they never played a day in football, once they get in real life, they get a job. It's not working out for them. They just gonna want to up and leave it. You know.
Right.
So I was gonna say adversity is just a part of life. So you can't just run whenever you want to try to make everything go right for you.
Yeah, you're totally right. I think it's a two-sided coin. There's situations where it makes sense. There's situations where it doesn't. I want to play a clip real quick from Bobby Petrino at press conference, and he talks about his offense. I'm going to play that for us right here for everybody to watch. Check this out.
What has changed the most about your offense since you were here last?
I honestly don't think a lot has changed simply because I don't think it's about plays. I don't think it's about what you do. I think it's about how you use the players that you have. How you get the ball to a Jarius Wright, Joe Adams, how you get the ball to Dennis Johnson, and how you work, the different situations of the game. And so what I love to do is utilize players and then be really good at the situations of the game, and the players really understand, what we're going to see in third and short, what we're going to see in fourth and short, and what we're going to see in the red zone. what blitzes they run from the 15-yard line in, get everybody on the same page, and then practice the heck out of it. And then when you're on the left hash, 35-yard line, 1st and 10, you want to take a shot at the end zone. Everybody knows what we've done, what coverage we expect, and then what to do if we don't get that coverage. Or what are you going to do on 4th and 1, left hash, game on the line. We ran the ball the previous 2 times, got knocked right in the mouth. So let's give us a little play action in there and see if we can get it. So I kind of like to really work on situations and players.
I think he just said it perfectly right there, and that's a lot of what he did a lot in his offense previously at the University of Arkansas. So I want to finish on this. Tell us what you think about him and his intellect when it comes to offense.
Like you said, he's a guy that can get his best on your worst. So that's what he tries. He schemes for that. Like, it don't matter what play it is. And his offense is really a concept. So anybody can get the ball. He can motion you across just to get you matched up on a linebacker. So he's good at getting you in position. Now, when it comes to the players, all that comes in the offseason when he's telling you run that extra 40 yards after a catch. We running 1,800 110s today. It's a lot of rigorous stuff that he's gonna put you through, but it's also gonna train your mind to when you tired and you ready to lay down and you look across the field, they just as tired as you ready to lay down. So it really gonna come down to who gonna suck it up and who gonna win this game when it all come down to it. It all means whatever it takes. So he tried to put you in a good position for you to win, but you got to put yourself in a good position before he even puts you in it.
Man, I appreciate you joining us for the show, Joe. We love getting your insight because you played for the guy. You played at the highest level, and you did some of the most historical things that has ever been done on the field here at the University of Arkansas. So just want to say thank you. Thank you to our 4th and 5 fans for staying in touch. Hey, and if you want to check out future episodes, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Joe, I appreciate it, man, and can't wait to see. I can't wait to see Ace out there on that field here in a couple years.
Oh yeah, he'll be out there. Don't worry about it. I'll be out there with him. You're gonna be like, do you still got some eligibility left?
All right, brother. Take care, man. Have a good night.
You too.